Hi guys. So I've just been making some just really simple little thin notebooks to pop into the pockets of some journals. I just started this to use up food packaging cardboard and some cardboard scraps, little scraps of paper, and some scrap fabric. So you can see they're super quick and easy. Scrap papers, little offcuts of coffee dyed papers. That's some fabric from my grandmother. This was a dress of my grandmother's, which I've cut up. Look, the funky patterns that she used to have. I've always said that ugly grandma dresses or fat lady dresses make the best material for junk journals, because the patterns are, you know, they're always so loud or colourful, a bit ugly as a dress, but then once you cut them down, I really like them. Anyway, so look, they're super simple, probably no need to show you, but I thought I would give you a quick look at what I'm doing, because I haven't been on in a few weeks. These are some more I've made. Little skinnies. I love these little mini tall skinnies. So as you can see, I'll put any paper in there, lined paper. This was some, I think, children's colouring in book or something. Little coffee dyed paper scraps, you know, when you cut down pages from journals. Just use whatever paper you've got. So I've made a whole bunch. Oh, this one had some pink dyed paper that I did ages ago. This was my daughter-in-law's some tie-dye shirt or something that she had. So you can see I've made a whole bunch. They're all different shapes and sizes. This was a tiny scrap of little pink flower fabric that I've had kicking around the craft room for ages. I haven't put many pages in them because, like I said, I want them to be nice and thin, just to pop into pockets. These tall skinny ones, I thought I might do some altered envelopes. I've got a whole bunch of junk mail envelopes that I'll use, and then I can slide those into envelopes. That's another bigger one. Oh, let me show you these as well. And I made some little mini minis. Because, you know, when I've cut down the cardboard and the fabric, you always end up with smaller scraps. So you start off trying to use scraps and then you end up with smaller scraps. So the little scraps of cardboard and fabric, I just made some little minis, which I think are super cute. This was also a dress of my grandmother's. I have been trying to use that up forever. That one's a little square. Anyway, I just think it's good to have a whole bunch of these for when you make journals, just to pop into the pockets and tuck spots and that. That's some packaging paper scraps. This one's so narrow, look at that. I like the little mini minis. Look, that's the cute size. This is some security envelope in there. Well, that one I did a little flip out. These little minis are good because you can use up the tiny fabric scraps, and look, These ones were just strips of paper that were quite small. And look at this little guy, so cute. Actually, this was the first one I sewed. I started sewing them in with just leftover, I've got all over my desk when I make journals, you know, the waxed linen thread that you have. I've got all these little scraps that I just chuck them aside, and I was going to use them up, but I was too lazy, and then I ended up sewing them on the sewing machine. So I hand sewed one, and then I was like, nah, not doing that. I think I would have been there for a week if I had have hand sewn them. Anyway, so let me just show you quickly how I made them. Super easy, and it's one of those no cost projects. Other than glue, maybe. Okay, let me chuck these aside. This was the size that I kind of wanted to make originally, but I ended up just using whatever size cardboard I've got. Okay. So the things I used kind of varied. A whole bunch of those ones that I used was the covers from paperback novels, because, you know, it's got that shiny side that I know a lot of us don't like. I don't like it. So I used those, and the way I went about it, I just fold them first, and whatever size the cardboard was is the size of my notebook. I don't measure. I don't care what size it is, because it'll eventually be used in a journal. So just trim that off. So when you use paperback novels, keep the covers, because you can make these little notebooks. Okay, that's one. I just used weird packaging. This is a pajama. This came out of a bag for pajamas for my little grandkitties. Now, the front is a lot more narrow than the back, so I will cut that. It's folded already, which is good. But this is quite tall. I might just cut this one in half, or half-ish. And I'm going to snip this side bit off that the back is a bit longer. So that'll be a little skinny. Basically, I used ones where the inside was blank, because I didn't want to have to do that extra step of covering the inside. But, I mean, you know, sometimes, do I have some here? I don't think I pulled any out. But sometimes you get in the junk mail, little pieces of junk mail that is actually on, you know, a thicker cardboard. You can use that as well, but if it's got writing on the back, yeah. I mean, you can leave it as is, but I'd probably cover it up myself. And I just couldn't be bothered doing that. So all of the ones that I've made was just mostly the paperback novel covers, and just some food packaging cardboard. Now this book was a bit raggedy around the edges, so I'm going to trim all sides. Okay, that one. Yeah, packaging cardboard. What was this? This is shampoo or something. Yeah. My daughter-in-law, she's very girly, so she's always buying hair and beauty products and that. Unlike me. I'm a bit of a tomboy. Okay, so these ones, you know, where there's the side panel, you can either keep this and make a little tall skinny, so like cut it there, and then use the rest as another notebook. I'm just going to, I'll cut that off and I'll use that for tags. This one's quite thick, this box. I have so much food packaging cardboard and packaging like this from other products that I really need to use up. Okay, so this one, oh, this one's a bit thick. I may not use this box. Let's see. Where's my bone folder? Yeah, I don't think I'm going to use this one. It's super thick, and I think you know, sometimes if it's too thick, when you fold it, it cracks along here, along the spine. Let's just get that off. Yeah, maybe this box I'll keep and I'll make some tags out of this one. Let me chuck that aside somewhere. I've got no room on my desk. Okay, and of course, yeah, more food packaging. Let me get rid of this. This is the cheapo version of Gay Times. If you're in Australia, you'll know Gay Times. It's one of my favourite ice creams when I was young. I'm surprised they haven't changed the name of them. You know, you're not allowed to say gay now. Those ice creams was when a time when gay meant happy and joyous. But, you know, the woke crazies make everything get renamed. I really hope they don't rename it. Okay. I won't cut this one up because you get the gist. I'll do that later. Okay. Then I just got some scrap fabric. Okay, this is, oh actually this wasn't my grandmother's. This must have been my daughter-in-law's. I don't know what it is, some sort of singlet. Actually, it might have been pajamas. It's kind of a bit, it's got that felty kind of feel to it. Okay. And then I've just basically chopped these up. And this is why, you know, a lot of people always say to me, why do you have so many fabric scraps? This is why. Because I use food packaging, I use old clothes as fabric. And as you can see, they're weird shapes. And so you always end up with these little offcuts. That's why I'm always doing little scrap fabric projects. Oh gosh. I've got a whole bunch of journal covers that I've made from little scraps of fabric that I need to put signatures in. Okay. I don't recommend using t-shirt material for this because, you know, these little blue ones that I did, the little blue and pink with the tie-dye fabric, that was kind of like t-shirty material. And yeah, it's kind of hard to sew, because what I'm going to do now, now this little piece goes into here. I have bags and bags of little itty bitty scraps like this. It's ridiculous. And they're all colour. They're sorted by colour. Look at this, just to give you an idea. This is my giant blue bag of tiny scraps. They're kind of like ridiculous little pieces. Not even this size. This is a big scrap to me. They're all little pieces like this. I know, I've got issues. Okay. Then I just glue it down. Now I do go all the way to the edges. I'm going to sew these, but I do go all the way to the edges, because I'll actually just chuck these aside. I make a whole big pile at once, and then I chuck them aside, and I let them dry overnight. And then I'll just sew them all in one hit. Okay, so that'll go there. Now, don't refold it. So that's why I fold it before I glue the fabric on. Don't refold it now, because when you refold it, it stretches the fabric. It stretches the fabric, and then when you reopen it, you'll have bubbles or buckling here on the fabric. So just glue it down, let it dry like this. You can stack them all, chuck it aside and let them dry overnight or something, a couple of hours. It's pretty warm here at the moment. Actually, not today. You can see I've got a cardigan on. We've got a really crazy summer. We've not had much of a summer yet here in Sydney, Australia. But we have had a few warm days. So on the warm days, these will dry really quick. But since I'm going to sew them on my machine, I just like to let them dry overnight. As you can see, I'm a bit rough and ready with my cutting. And what I'll do, I'll keep making the same thing until I use this whole thing up, just to get rid of it. Then I need to make some more little scrap fabric projects with these little scraps. I'm determined not to sort these into their little colour bags. I want to use them straight after I do these. Probably going to do a whole bunch of just sewn, you know, scrap fabric embellished coffee dyed papers, I think, that I can just chuck aside ready to use in journals. I've been in journal making mode. I've got a whole bunch of journals that I've made and a whole bunch of covers that I've made. I just need to film them. It's so hard to film with my husband working from home. He's on his lunch break now, so I need to get a wiggle on, because he'll be back soon, and then I won't be able to talk because I have to be quiet. Okay, so I've got some more scraps here. I'll do those off camera. Okay, so like I said, pile them all up, make a whole bunch, chuck them aside to dry. Okay, these are a couple of covers that are already dry that I did earlier. And then once it's dry, whoops, I just cut around. I mean, you can be fancy and you can, you know, cut the fabric properly and fold it over and then line the inside and embellish the front. I'm not. I want quick and easy, and I just want these to throw in pockets in journals. Nice quickie project. Oh man, I need new fabric scissors. I found out that my husband, never let your husband or grandkids in your craft room, they steal everything. He had taken my fabric scissors inside, and everyone had been using them to cut papers and stuff. I think he took them in to cut wrapping paper for my grandson's birthday last month. And they feel so blunt now. Look at this. They don't even cut properly. Oh, man. Okay. So cut around it. Don't be too precious. Got some little wonky bits hanging out. Keep those. Okay. I still don't fold this until I've sewn it, because I don't want the fabric now to move away from the edges. Otherwise you'll have bits of cardboard showing. Now to sew it, because it's just basically fabric sitting on top of cardboard, if you do a straight stitch around the edge, the edge of the fabric might lift and you'll see the cardboard. So what I do a small zigzag stitch, and when I do it, actually on one side of the stitch is sewing the fabric and cardboard down, and the other side of the stitch, actually I go over the edge. Now I'm not going to show you me sewing these, but I have done a video on how I sew the edges by going over the edge, and I'll put that link in the comments box below so you can see how I sew them. But yeah, sew it, go over the edge a little, and that will make sure that the fabric doesn't lift away from the edges. Okay, then my scrap papers. I'm also not going to show you me cutting up paper. Actually, I don't have any left, but let me grab a scrap of something. Oh gosh, where? Okay, this. Okay, so if I were putting this in to here, I just grab all scrap papers, fold them together, and then I'll just trim it in one hit. I don't care if they're too short, too narrow, you know, doesn't matter. You don't have to go right up to the edge. Anyway, put your scrap papers in, and then you can sew them with a 3-hole pamphlet stitch if you want, you know, like you would sew a signature into for a journal. But because I was making so many at once and I was too lazy, like I said before, I just machine stitched these, and all I did was a straight stitch with a longer stitch length, so you know, put it on 3 or 4 on your machine, straight stitch just right down the center. And I think I do have a video showing that, and I'll put, I think it was some little paper notelets I made a few weeks ago or a month or 2 ago, and I'll put the link to that video down below of how I do it. Just a little trick in that video. Sometimes when you fold it, it's hard to see your folded line, especially if you're blind like me. So I basically just get a pencil and I'll show you what I do. Have these little sewing clips. I don't know how I ever survived without these before. Seriously, they're the best best thing I've ever been sent in a Happy Mail. Thank you, Sue. These I can't live without them now. Anyway, I put one clip there and one clip there. I get a pencil, draw a line down the center, and I do that for all of my little notebooks. So I'll go through, stack a whole pile, and then I will sew them in one hit, just straight down the center. And I'll make a big long chain of them and then cut them up at the end. And then that's it. And then you will have these cute little notebooks just made out of scraps and crap. And then you can pop them in a journal. Do I have a journal here? Somewhere. Oh, this one. Okay. This one, am I finished this? I think so. Yeah, I think I've finished this one. This was an old 1935 encyclopedia. Look at the covers. They're so nice. I've had this sitting here. I was tossing up whether to embellish the front, but I think I'm going to just leave them. Anyway, then depending on what sort of pocket you have in your journal, you can just slide one of those into your journals. Or, you know, sometimes between your signatures, if there's a bit of a gap, you can just pop one in there, just as an extra little writing spot. Anyway, that's it. I hope that has given you some more ideas on using up food packaging and those paperback novel covers. So something like this. This was one of my kids' books when they were young. This is actually quite old. Yeah, just rip the covers off and use them. Because what else are you going to do with that? Tags, never ending tags. Anyway, that's it. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.